Welcome back to Actual Proper Podcast. I'm Reece Farkash. Joining me is Twila Amato. We've done that intro what feels to be a million times.
I feel like we should have a new one.
Up?
Yeah. Well, I mean, we tried to jazz it up with like cold opens, but
Should we have like a musical theme? Should we make one?
No.
Yeah, I don't really. I don't have the time.
I just feel like it's gonna be so like cheesy to do that.
I've made some cool beats like in my time in college with looping software, but I don't have it in me to do it right now.
Yeah, no,
I just
not
don't
right
have
now.
it in
Just
me.
thinking
Maybe
about
later.
just thinking about that extra work, I'm kind of just like, forget about it. We don't have to do it. It's fine.
All right, welcome back to episode 22.
22, yeah.
22 episodes, man. It's been a journey.
Yeah, thanks for riding along, I guess.
Yeah, thanks so much for our new listeners and for our returning listeners.
And we hope you're doing well,
yeah.
Especially during these times when it's kind
Of course, still going on. This is our fourth episode, where, expect a lot more episodes to come while everyone's in quarantine.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be a while. I think it's going to be a long time, but...
Yeah, so Canada is what we're talking about before we started recording, is like their timetable for when it's safe to go outside is going to be till the end of summer. That's their timetable.
The very real possibility of missing out on all these summer activities that people like to do, I guess.
Well, missing summer completely, because that's like what summer is to be outside and having fun. And, being social and talking to people.
I guess I get that, but because, again, I'm just not very much.
Yeah, you're a homebody.
I'm a big homebody, so I'm just like, I stay in all day, every day. It doesn't matter to me.
This is the first city you've lived in that's like a truly summer city, though. Like, it's another level.
So.
It's different from Vancouver, Montreal, and like Vancouver Island. It is.
I guess so.
It's a summer powerhouse for sure.
Yeah, but I mean, I can understand why. But it's also, I mean, I was also very excited to, I guess, experience all those things. Experience the trails, and I mean, don't get me wrong, I do love hiking and exploring that way, the outdoors that way. But of course, I don't do it as often as I can, but I was really hoping to do that this time around, bike around, and but like go to the
you can't
beach/lake and I guess just do all the other things.
I can't play beach volleyball or like.
It's okay. I never played beach volleyball anyway.
It's like a huge sport in this city where it's just there's leagues everywhere. You can't play softball. You can't play pick up basketball games. You can't.
I also don't play
the recreation centers. Like, so it's okay. Well, not for you, but for our listeners, everyone who's not you.
Everybody who is not me. These are the things you're about to miss out on, and I'm sorry.
Yeah, sorry, but it just looked like that's the way it's probably going to go for the rest of the summer.
But it's all for the best, I think, right? So I think we should all just kind of hold on and keep,
You can still go hiking as long as
you're
still social distancing. So basically, you can't go hiking with your friends, but you can go hiking if you live with someone, with your roommates.
Or like on your own, I guess.
Yeah. So, oops, that was my phone. I'll turn it to
Reece,
you.
always. His phone always dings every time we record.
So it might be a lonely hike, but if you have roommates, it's okay. It's a good chance to bond with them even more.
Here's the thing. I think that hiking in groups is so overrated. Just hike on your own. Obviously, don't go into the backcountry in the backwoods all by yourself.
By yourself, not just with one other person.
Yeah, and that's totally okay. Dude, you know what? Embrace your own company, okay? Like, love yourself and just, like, enjoy your own company.
But that's what everyone's doing already.
Yeah, do it more. Just do it more, man.
This is bad advice. Okay,
no,
next
it's not
topic.
bad. No, it is not bad advice. I mean it. Just, this is a really good time to learn more about yourself and to just really be by yourself and just like, reconnect with yourself, with your inner goddess. I don't know.
Yikes.
I am not a yoga teacher. What are some
good news stories that are happening out of this? Because all we talk about is the negatives.
Right.
So what are some good,
but there's actually
good news?
awesome stuff that's been going on. And I, for one, I wasn't necessarily assigned to good news stories necessarily, but I'm just that kind of person. I love a good feel-good story. Obviously, I think we all do. And I always seek the positive, like, community-based stories like that. And that's what's been sort of my beat, basically, for the last little while, especially now that the coronavirus is kind of, like, really rearing its ugly head everywhere. And so a lot of good news has happened. So I know, at least here in BC, and so they're a Vancouver-based company. They have this platform called Purposely, and basically it's kind of like a matching platform for volunteers to I guess match to their cause / organization. That they exactly. But they kind of repurposed the platform to be specifically about COVID-19. And so people who need help, like seniors and those people who are immunocompromised, if they need help, errands ran for them and stuff like that. They're matched with people within their cities, their provinces, and their towns and stuff like that, for help, basically. And I just think that's a really good idea, and that, is super neat. And there's, and when I did the interview with one of the founders, he said that everything is kind of just basically, just turning upside down and really terribly, but this is the best time to show the best of humanity. And I just think, and that quote really stuck with me. Like, what he said just, like, really stuck with me, because it's so true. Like, it's these times. I mean, obviously it's always a good time to show the best of humanity, be positive and all that. But in times like these, this is really a good time to show that, hey, we're more than, a bunch of people, like, complaining and self-isolated and, all the bad things happening. We are also helpful, and we can do things for our neighbors. And I think that's just really cool. So that's definitely one of the good news stories. And I'm sure, similar things like that are happening.
Like, I guess man coming together,
for sure,
happening all over the world.
For sure.
Stories that you're hearing of, which actually, this is not a feel-good story. This is like just like a.
Why are we talking about it?
Because it was really funny. What was it today? It was an interview on CBC with a bartender.
Oh, okay.
And basically, what he had to say was, because in Canada we are getting, every person who's been affected by COVID-19 job-wise is going to be receiving $2,000 a month. And then each province is kind of doing its own
relief
thing
efforts,
for that to it contributes to it. And this bartender, his opinion was that $2,000 isn't enough to live on.
What are you doing with the $2,000, buddy?
He'd want around $6,000
oh my gosh.
a month, because that's what he was spending before. $6,000 a month.
How can you
as a bartender?
But where was he living? And I mean, how much was he earning as a bartender?
It's just, this isn't. It wasn't said in the interview, but it's all for cocaine and drugs, guaranteed. You can't. You can't spend $6,000 a month and be sane. Complain about it that you're not getting enough and be sane.
That is mind-boggling, because I mean, even with all kind of like my skincare and makeup purchases, and trust me, I have a lot of cosmetic purchases, but even with all of that, I still manage to be able to pay all the things that I need to pay.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
And my car insurance is not a joke. So there we go. That's crazy.
Yeah,
6,000. He's asking for $6,000.
Yeah.
My God,
it's
that's
insane.
crazy.
Yeah. Everyone was just
yike-roni.
Check out this guy.
Oh
Jesus.
no. But I think another kind of like positive story, or I guess angle to this, is people just, I guess, adapting really quickly to the situation.
Really,
and turning it around to something so much better, because there's been, I mean, obviously it's really unfortunate that a lot of businesses have had to shutter and aren't, they're just the kind of business that you can't really turn around to do something else with. Like, for example, I know that a lot of a bunch of wineries are now trying their best to use their resources to create hand sanitizer. So there are just some places of business that can turn around. They already have the materials and they can produce something else. So I know that here locally, a local picture frame company is now producing plexiglass barriers for businesses. So for grocery stores, for banks, and what have you.
Any kind of person-to-person contact.
Yeah, exactly. That's still an essential like service that's still open. Then now they're producing plexiglass barriers for them, and the proceeds go to local food banks wherever those businesses might be that they're installing the barriers for. So there's just, I guess some businesses are flexible enough to be able to like, hey, look,
find their niche in the times.
So that's really positive for sure. I like that.
Do you know what's funny though? You know how there's the plexiglass barriers?
Mm-hmm.
I haven't seen any of them for drive-thrus.
Huh.
Isn't that
interesting?
Weird? Because
well, I mean, I guess they have the windows, right?
But
and they're kind of like far enough away from people, but still, you kind of reach out.
You touch each other still.
That's true.
And you touch the machine, but like it'd be so easy to do that barrier. That's weird. It just came to my mind.
Mm-hmm.
Like, why would it be any different? But
yeah, well, maybe that's something that they're considering, right? I mean, we're in
maybe
early days.
Yeah,
still.
Well, I mean, we don't know the reasons, but there could be a reason. But anyway, what I wanted to say, what recently came to light is, so everyone out there having Zoom parties, it's the thing to do these days. Yeah, Zoom. It's not that great of software or a company.
Is it? I mean, I don't.
There's a dark side to Zoom that people don't know of.
To be honest with you, I have never ever heard of Zoom.
Never until this.
This, and it's
then
funny.
all of a sudden, everyone's about it overnight.
Yeah.
It was bizarre.
Yeah, but apparently, it's used a lot in, I guess, in classroom settings, especially in university. So I'm not to like date myself or like whatever, but when I was in university, we also there are some classes where the professor actually live streams their class, but a lot of that is usually in-house software.
Right.
And so McGill had its own live streaming service that did that and hosted that on our kind of like class website, whatever that may be. So in general, it wasn't really Zoom. And so I'm guessing Zoom only really came about like, obviously years and years after I've graduated. And so now, so my brothers are very familiar with Zoom because they're both in university right now, and so they have those conference calls.
It's the go-to thing for anything.
Well,
anything.
Nowadays,
like personal things, businesses, classes, it's just everywhere.
Okay,
and
so
everyone who's listening to this knows what Zoom is.
Right. Okay, so tell me what the dark side of Zoom is.
I'll tell you what the
I'm
dark
not
side
like
is.
a prehistoric like dinosaur, but like
It's okay. So. You know how you like your privacy, your personal data? You don't like it being, sold or shared.
Of course.
Well, what they were doing was that they were secretly sharing that data with the data from the iOS app to Facebook.
Ugh, Facebook, of course.
Which of course that data was going all over the world.
Of course. Are we surprised?
But that's not all. Shocking. But this is data that's used in businesses, in classrooms, in personal connections. That's all. Think of all those very sensitive topics. Thankfully, I do not believe the government is actually using Zoom because, thank God, they're a little smarter. But
no kidding.
Also, what people found with Zoom is that there is different exploits that are very easy to take advantage of for hackers to steal your information from Zoom calls. So not just the company sharing your data, anyone.
It's just very easy to hack into.
Very easy and alarming, but also like they could do things like steal your Windows sign-in information. And I mean, basically with that you could, it's called ransomware. You could just lock someone out of their device. Completely take control of it, and just all that sensitive information you already have on there.
Well, and, I am very glad I don't use
Zoom, guys. Use a better alternative. Use Microsoft Teams. Use Skype. Skype's not the best. None of these are the best software. Everything has its ghosts, but Zoom, it just seems way too sketchy for the moment to be using. If a business is practicing with sharing data already, you can't trust, I guess, those decisions, even though they could, release fixes for hackers stealing the data. They're still going to be making those sketchy decisions themselves to be, taking advantage of its customer base. You know,
kind of creepy.
Maybe just look for some alternatives out there to something a little bit more reputable. Again, most companies have their fair share of problems. So, you know, with communication software, everything has its merits, everything has its downsides. So, I mean, if you consider Zoom to be the application for you, go
just
for
aware,
it. You know,
guess.
yeah, just be aware of cybersecurity dangers, and you know, come to some logical conclusions yourself, and you know, just have these thoughts, I guess, in your head, and maybe don't be putting business secrets through Zoom.
Yikes.
Or you know what? Any of those softwares. Just use in-house software. Or
no matter how janky it might be, I think it's still a better alternative for privacy reasons, right?
Right.
Well, that's there's some creepy news. You know what? Honestly, technology always creeps me out anyway. I don't know. Am I a dinosaur? Maybe. I don't know. Who knows? But technology, like you said, of course, it always has its pros and its cons, just like everything. And I think just being aware of things and being smart about how you use these things definitely will help for sure.
Right. And if you are someone who's just, you know, you're a little bit more ignorant to the ways of how technology works and how, I guess, the internet works and software, there's so much like layman's videos online or classes or whatever. You wanted 5 minutes, you could just learn some information that you didn't before. So
I don't know, or just, I guess, live stream on Facebook your classes or something.
Oh God, that's right to the live streaming on Facebook is going right to the end. They were sharing their information to Facebook, and then you just skip the middleman.
Yeah, exactly. Just skip the middleman.
You just give it right to the world.
Exactly. Well, no, I mean, for classes and things like that, I think it's a lot less insidious to use Facebook and things like that for classroom purposes, I think. Plus, it's just easier. Also, everybody has Facebook these days. I mean, your 9-year-old child probably has Facebook, you know.
Oh, God. No.
They just, lied on,
less people have Facebook now
birthday
than ever. Than in the past 5-6 years.
But what I'm saying is there are other ways, I think. For every purpose, there is a different software, I think, and a different platform that you can
You have a lot of options. You have a lot of options out there. Just choose what's right for you. And again, if you go through everything and you ultimately decide Zoom's right for you, then, you know, don't sue us, Zoom. That's all.
Well,
you won't get anything. We don't have anything.
We don't have any money. Kidding me? Yikes. All right. Well.
Also, in a time where we are consuming so much media right now, let's take a look into Canadian media that we have talked about before on this show. But, you know, let's take another kind of perspective. Now that we're down the road a little bit.
For sure.
So what is your thoughts on, to start off with, Canadian media? Good, bad? Are they doing enough? Are they not?
You know what? And I'm very guilty of, I guess, not consuming a lot of Canadian media.
Specifically,
in general.
TV and movies is what I wanted.
Right,
music is a whole nother ballgame.
Right, for sure. And news, I guess, because I mostly consume Canadian news as a Canadian newsmaker, I guess.
But also any Canadian.
Right. But I think for definitely for TV shows and movies, I can't say I, consume a lot of Canadian content that way, but the few ones that I've definitely kind of invested my time in has been, I think, greatly rewarded, especially with Kim's Convenience. I think that
a great
show
Canadian show
is absolutely amazing. I just really, really love that show, and I hold it so near and dear to my heart. And a show has never made me feel the feels, or at least be so in my head and in my feelings than Kim's Convenience, because when something is super, super cringy, I literally, my whole body cringes. I shrink and I can't even look at the TV as it's going on. But then when something is sad or touching, I tear up, and I can feel it deep within my soul. And so, I mean,
so Kim's Convenience, it's the cringiest show ever, but it's a good cringe.
It's a good cringe, yeah. But it's also such a laugh out loud show. Like you can't watch it.
It's hilarious.
Yeah, you can't watch it quietly. Like there's just no way to watch that show quietly. It's so good. It's amazing. The actors are absolutely amazing. The production team absolutely amazing. There's like, honestly, there's nothing bad that I can ever say about like Kim's Convenience. I think it's just like such a good show, and I really appreciate it. And just I just really like it.
Is there any other Canadian media that comes to mind when you think about Canadian TV?
So
and
right
movies?
now, actually, and the only reason I'm seeing a lot of mentions about this, and I also did want to watch this since it first came out, was Schitt's Creek. I've never ever watched it, but I hear it's really good, and I only hear good things about it. And it's all Canadian cast and crew, Canadian produced. I believe it's CBC, right? Like produced by CBC or something like that.
I think it's a joint CBC Netflix, or is it just CBC?
I think it's
just CBC. Anyway, it's helmed by the legendary Eugene Levy, which I mean,
exactly.
Like, he has made his mark for the past 20 years.
So here's the thing. For some reason, and I honestly don't know how this happened, but I'm following Dan Levy on Twitter and Instagram, and so obviously because he's one of the cast members
who plays the son of Eugene Levy.
Exactly, and he's a real life son.
Is he a producer in that show too?
Yes.
Okay, that's what I thought.
He obviously posts a lot of like Schitt's Creek like BTS and tweets and content, and so I've been seeing a lot of his tweets about it and people's responses to it, and I'm just like, maybe I should watch it. Like, be a good Canadian, watch Schitt's Creek. But yeah, I have been really wanting to watch it. I remember when I was interning at in Toronto, there were like huge billboards and posters of Kim's Convenience and Schitt's Creek at the CBC like building, and you see their faces everywhere, and so I'm just like, maybe I should spend some time, watch Schitt's Creek. But
is that show supposed to is the setting in the show supposed to be Canada, or is it America?
You know what? I don't know. I think it's supposed to be like,
I'm gonna look it up.
A generic like place. Obviously, it's just called Schitt's Creek.
Yeah, I think when I watched the first few seasons, and I think it was in America.
Also, someone it's so funny because I called someone for an interview, and they were like, and obviously I said my name, and they're like, Twila. Oh, right. Like Twila from Schitt's Creek. Have you ever watched that show? And I was just like, dude, I'm so sorry, but like I've never watched that show, but good to know that there's another Twila there.
Okay, here, I got it looked up now. So Schitt's Creek is a small town in Ontario, Canada, and it was actually founded by Horace Schitt and his sister in 1895.
Oh, that's an unfortunate name, honestly.
And it is actually the setting for the TV
like
series.
The actual setting. Okay.
Yeah, in the town in Ontario. That's very
really neat.
Cool.
That's super neat.
I thought it was in America, so that's really cool.
That's super neat. Yeah, when places are actually set in Canada, that always makes me so, oh my gosh. And it's so funny because I just finished a book a couple of weeks back called The Home for Unwanted Girls, and this was set in the Eastern Townships and Montreal. And I absolutely just devoured that book because there were so many, I guess, references obviously to places that I knew in Montreal and the Eastern Townships, and then obviously there were some just bits and pieces of French here and there, and I always appreciated that because I'm like, oh my gosh, this book is totally for me, and like I totally understand it. So I think I'm just a little starved for Canadian content for sure, but I don't know. For podcast, I mostly listen to a lot of like, I guess, American produced podcasts, but a podcast that I absolutely adore out of here out of Canada is Canada Land. That is such a good show. I mean, it can get a little controversial, especially with Jesse Brown and his stances, and Jesse Brown being like the main producer, also the host of the flagship show. I think he can be abrasive. Not stances per se, but just like the way he words things. I think like people get rubbed the wrong way, I guess. And he can be kind of combative as well. But I mean, I don't know. He's a reporter. He's kind of.
I don't know if I could ever listen to that though, because
no. I don't mean in the podcast itself. Like in podcast, he's civil, obviously.
Okay,
and he's,
thank God. Because I was like, oh my God, like.
No, he's
petty
not. Petty
broadcasting's just.
Yeah. Oh no, he's not petty. When he's on the podcast, obviously he's he's professional. But like I guess on social media, when he has opinions, and we all have opinions, and we're all welcome to those opinions. But when he words things, I guess people just don't like that. So a lot of people, especially because he's also obviously like he's a liberal, and he's a little more like. Towards the left, I guess. And so people don't like that, especially, conservatives or people writing for conservative media or just have those views, So, and because he's such a prominent figure, you see those arguments a lot. So, but for the most part, I don't think necessarily, like, I wouldn't say he's a problematic person necessarily. Mm-hmm. It's just that
he doesn't use social media responsibly.
Yeah, maybe. But also it comes with, I guess, his position as kind of like a public figure too, because again, he used to be a reporter, and now he's a publisher, and and a host. So definitely that comes with the territory, I think. But I do appreciate how, I guess, because he is an independent basically he's an independent producer, I do appreciate that there's not a lot of, like, I guess, corporate like
influences
in
his work?
And like he's not kissing up to anyone, and just really trying his best to be a good reporter and trying his best to keep these people accountable. And I really appreciate that, especially as a young journalist just starting out in my career, like I appreciate that kind of point of view. So so Canada Land, do check it out, it's really cool. Another podcast that I started listening to, and it started producing like years ago, is The Big Loop. And I don't know if all of the cast and the crew members working on the podcast are from Canada, but I do know that one of the head writers and one of the executive producers is from Vancouver, and I believe is still based in Vancouver up until now. And he and his crew basically try their best to hire Vancouverites, but also just Canadian artists and stuff like that. So it's audio fiction. So, and I'm such a sucker for like drama, like radio drama and audio fiction podcasts. So I've really, really loved The Big Loop. But I don't know if they're still producing like future seasons, because I think there's only like 3 seasons, but it's really, really good. So I do recommend that if you're looking for some good Canadian content. What about you?
Canadian content that comes to mind is, I mean, it's mostly just Netflix series that are shot in Canada.
Sure, but still, right? Like, that's still
But there's still some really good ones. But of course, you got all the CW stuff happening in Vancouver.
Heck yes.
But you also have other TV shows and movies filming in Vancouver, like Deadpool did. And then you have stuff being shot on Vancouver Island. And then you also have things like Jurassic Park, which is shot not too far from where we live here in the Okanagan, at least some parts of it. And then you also have stuff on the East Coast. So you have the Netflix show with Jason Momoa, Frontier, which is about, it is set in Canada narratively, or like so it's shot in Canada, but also set in Canada, which is amazing. And it has a lot of First Nations actors, which is awesome.
That's awesome.
It's
representation.
So good. Yeah,
That's awesome.
I guess more opportunities is just amazing.
That's
and to have something that's so First Nations focused is also really awesome.
Oh, that's
too.
really neat. Is this a show that's already out or is coming out?
Oh, it's been out for years. I don't know if it's still going on. It's called Frontier.
Frontier? Okay, I've never looked into it, I guess.
I watched the first couple seasons. It's from my point of view, it's very good. I don't know how accurate it is, if at all. But from a storytelling perspective, I liked it.
Was it gruesome, like C?
No. And yes, see the TV show, which was also filmed on Vancouver Island, like right where we live.
Around,
Jason Momoa's
Campbell River,
like in town, and that was really cool. So much other Canadian stars, like Travelers, the TV show.
Yeah, Travelers is amazing.
Really, really good.
Really, really sad that they canceled it after the 3rd season, though. So
sad. I was looking so forward to the 4th.
But it is what it is.
It would have been so cool. Really and they used a full Canadian cast too, right?
Yeah. They're from all over Canada, and so that was really neat. And it was shot in Vancouver, I believe. So it's always so funny to see these productions, where it's set somewhere else, but then realistically you're just like, that's Canada, dude. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Always Be My Maybe, that movie with Randall Park and Ali Wong. Absolutely awesome show.
Was that filmed in Vancouver?
That was filmed primarily in Vancouver. I believe there were some I know the streetcar scenes definitely had to have been filmed in San Francisco, where it's like
and the establishing shots for sure.
Right, exactly.
Naturally. That's how you do it.
Yeah, but everything, and it's so funny because in one particular scene, they Randall Park's character and Ali Wong's character, they eat out at a dim sum restaurant, and that's one of our favorite restaurants. Like my friends and I and my family, we always go there for dim sum, but also for steamed pork buns. They're well known for that stuff.
Oh,
and
that's
it's
cool.
So good, but also it's just really fun to see, landmarks that I grew up around and like that I always go to
represented
and be like
in popular culture.
Yeah, I think that's really neat.
What's the best part about that movie?
What?
Is that
Keanu Reeves?
Keanu Reeves is in it playing himself as a parody, obviously, as a caricature.
Yeah.
But I just think it's so funny.
He was so game. He was so game for it.
Like, I haven't really seen that side of Keanu Reeves, the more comedic side, which I thought was really, it's always very dramatic.
Exactly.
Because I don't know about the other stuff he's in. Bill and Ted. I haven't seen it.
I've never seen any comedy from Keanu Reeves.
Exactly. So his biggest stuff, of course, John Wick and The Matrix.
Definitely not comedy. That's for sure.
Definitely not comedy, which is I think all I've seen him in. I should.
Those are the things. Those are. Oh, he was in what's it? Constantine, I think.
Yeah,
no?
Yeah, he was in Constantine.
Yeah, but that was
a bad movie that no one saw, including me, and I'm a comics fanatic. I go crazy for this,
but it was also
and I don't
not
care about watching
a comedy,
right? And it's not very faithful to the source material anyway. I think I do believe. So what?
Yeah,
Keanu Reeves is Canadian.
He's Canadian. Yeah.
Where's he from?
I'm pretty sure he's from the East Coast.
Born in Beirut, Lebanon.
Yeah, but I think his mom or something is Canadian.
What? Lebanon? Isn't he Hawaiian?
His mom's, I think his mom has Hawaiian ancestry, or his dad. I don't know.
That's so interesting.
I was just about to mention that Keanu Reeves is Canadian.
That's so interesting. Okay, I'm gonna look it up. You talk more about Keanu Reeves.
Well, I don't have more to say about Keanu Reeves, but another thing that
okay, sorry, I just found something cool. His nationality is full Canadian.
Yeah.
Not even dual citizen, in American.
Or
Lebanon.
Lebanese
or like Hawaii, full Canadian. It's really cool. Anyway, keep on going. Sorry.
I think and I don't know if I already talked about this in another episode, but there's this show called Breakfast, Lunch, and Dinner, and this chef basically just hangs out with celebrities and goes to their hangout spots where they like the food and stuff like that. So there was the first episode, I believe, was with Seth Rogen, and obviously naturally was Vancouver. And so basically Seth brought the chef to a bunch of like places that he liked to eat at all around Vancouver and Richmond, and I thought that was just like really neat because these are the places that I've known about word of mouth or have gone to myself, which is really neat. So that's always awesome. You are making shocked faces.
This is so cool.
Okay,
so he is a naturalized Canadian.
Okay,
so his mother is actually English.
Okay.
Like from England herself, not like her parents obviously, but
Mm-hmm.
She was from England, and his father is American from Hawaii, like native Hawaiian, Chinese, English, Irish, and Portuguese.
Wow.
That's so his grandmother is Chinese and Hawaiian.
Wow.
That
what a storied background.
Yeah, so interesting.
I'm just Asian.
That's so cool.
I'm just one kind of Asian.
Mm-hmm. So I think he lives in Toronto.
As a lot of rich people do, I guess.
Yeah. Every famous Canadian lives in Toronto.
Every famous Canadian lives in Toronto, yes. Or just Ontario.
We can also talk about how cool it was that all the, at least two big celebrities contributing so much to Canadians and food banks, mostly Edmonton, which is where I am partially from. So it all started with Ryan Reynolds donating $4,000 to the Edmonton Food Bank because he said that that city is just so wonderful.
Ryan, you're disappointing me.
He's a
donate to Vancouver food banks, please.
I'm sure he did, but he has a special connection to Edmonton.
What's a special connection? To Edmonton?
He actually he was part of a Make-A-Wish for a child in Edmonton and spent a lot of time with him and. So he just, I guess, grew to love the city, and he did that in memory of the child.
Oh, that's so sweet.
So that was absolutely amazing. But then there was basically an uproar from Edmontonians on social media, just adding Nathan Fillion. Like, yo, are you going to let this happen on your turf to your city? And because there's such a strong, passionate claim for Nathan,
because he
between
is
Nathan
from
Fillion and Edmonton, because he's from Edmonton.
He's from Edmonton,
and every Edmontonian loves Nathan Fillion so much because of it, and then he also has a passion for it. So it's just like a huge passion, which most people don't have. Like most movie stars, at least, don't have with cities or places. But it's just such like, I guess, a protectiveness. But anyway, he did an awesome thing, which, of course, that came to his wind, and he donated $5,000 to the Edmonton Food Bank, which one-upped Ryan Reynolds by $1,000. So then I had this kind of idea where it's like, let's tag everyone who is from Edmonton, all the famous actors, or the area, or even from Alberta. See if
all these donations
get,
just going
out to
Edmonton and Alberta,
and ask them if they could donate. But I don't think anything ever came from that. But I thought it was a cool idea.
It's too funny.
Because there's a surprising amount.
All right, but I think as far as it goes for Canadian content and Canadian actors, I guess
I think we're in a good place for Canadian content. Like we are seeing a bit of a build for it. And
I think we're
more
definitely
productions
stepping it up
are
for
choosing
sure.
Canada
for sure. Yeah.
Of course, I mean all the money that they save filming here and how much our government supports it. It's just fantastically awesome because again, you get more jobs in Canada and you get more tourism in Canada, which is huge.
Not right now, though.
Yeah, of
Try
course
not to travel right now.
I mean, these shows aren't even filming right now.
Yeah, no, nothing's filming right now.
Yeah, everything's been pushed back. But I just think that is so cool, and we're on a bit of an upwards trend. And last thoughts, I think we're again just in an upwards trend. Yeah, I guess. And
that's just always really good. But also, again, I don't know. It just feels really good to be represented. I think in some way, shape, or form, right? I just. Yeah, especially your hometown being represented. I think that's just so awesome. But it's also just such an awesome thing to see, like film crews filming downtown, or even
that's
as
still
frustrating
a dream of mine
as frustrating as it is when they block off venues and streets and what have you. It's still really cool because it's such a normal occurrence for me to be like at a venue and then I go there because I have an appointment, but then I realize they're filming. And then there's the crew. So it's kind of cool. But yeah, it's always really neat to see that.
Yeah, I really want to see that one day. Or I also want to be an extra, I think.
Just like walking into a scene unknowingly.
Or a background character. I just think that's really cool.
Yeah, it's really neat.
I think that's really fun and really cool. And there is a surprising amount of casting calls around Kelowna. So.
Oh, here's your chance.
Yeah, you never know. That's pretty much it. We'll be coming back to you next week. Maybe. And we're going to have those bonus episodes out for this month as well. on our Patreon, one episode of this podcast, Actual Proper Podcast, and one episode of Drawfective. Now, make sure you go check out Drawfective on YouTube. We just launched our 3rd episode there. We have one on the Patreon already. So I guess if you want more content, it's a great way to support creators as well as, get something for yourself out of it.
So get some entertainment.
You can check it out on Spotify and Drawfective on YouTube. And also follow us on Twitter at Drawfective. And that's all.
I think that's all, yeah.
All right, adios.
Stay safe and healthy.